Hi there, welcome to this course on After Effects from scratch. My name is Harshit and I am a course instructor, and here in this course you will be learning a lot of things on After Effects. You will learn to create a composition from scratch where you could use some basic transformation techniques, the color mask, the text animations, data visualization with pie chart, map animation that you can use with vlogs and documentaries, and most powerful tool, the camera tracking. The camera tracking, you could place your objects and text on the moving video clip. So you will be learning a lot of more. So don't wait, start learning. See you in the class. Hi there, welcome to this tutorial on After Effects. Here in this practical exercise, you are learning how to create a new composition or a new project in After Effects. So let's start. Here we have just opened a new instance of After Effects, and from the project menu you got an option to create a new project. You can click it there and this screen will appear on your monitor, and then you got an option to create a new composition or new composition from footage. So just create a new composition. Here you got a setting, just provide a name of the composition you want to create, uh, provide any name. Then you got a lot of options here, the width, height, and the option, the preset you can choose. I will be using the default 1920 by 1080 pixel, and it is widely used. It is high definition. You can choose the frame rate. Here 29.9 would be the better frame rate. You can choose a pixel, the square pixel would work here. You can choose the drop frame or not. You can limit the duration of this composition. So in that case, you can't create a timeline greater than that. A composition is completely different from a video, so it should not be very long. For editing, it would be difficult. You can choose a default background color, or you can add a background using solid later. You'll be learning that thing. You can toggle this transparency mode on and off. So if you want your screen to be transparent, you can do so. And you can also zoom in the screen size. Here you can reduce the screen size or scale it up based on your requirement. You can zoom in, and there is a workspace settings there. You can choose the default, learning, or advanced editing workspace. You got a lot of options we'll be exploring. And in the workspace you got a detail. Go to Windows, you got a lot of options that you can dock the panels on the screen, like Limetric scope for color, effects and preset, the timeline, and everything else, the project window. So keep learning, keep moving ahead. You will be learning a lot of in After Effects in the coming exercises. Hi, welcome back friend. Here in this practical exercise, you will be learning about various After Effects tools, the shape layer, text, and solid. So let's start. Here you got a shape drawing tool. You can select any shape. Just hold it down to select a circle. Here you got a stroke and fill. So you can readjust the size of a stroke and scale it down or up as per your requirement. You can change the color of your shape. Here I have changed the fill to dark blue, and use the selection tool to move your shape in and around the screen. You can also scale it up or down. You can change the size of your circle, or you can change the shape, twist it around, make it oval, and more. Here, when you go to the layer option, you got a lot of transformation tools that you can adjust. After Effects is about motion graphics, and motion graphics require a motion. So you can set any kind of motion from position, scale, orientation, and a lot of things here. So just control this. Click on the stopwatch icon to set a keyframe. Keyframe is a unit of time where you define its position or any value. So here we are animating the position. So by setting a keyframe, we provided a value of the position, and to the other keyframe we provided a different value. You can set a lot of keyframes in this way. Don't worry if you don't get it at the moment. You will be learning all of these things in the coming exercises in much detail. So don't worry, stay tuned. So you can move this shape in and around the screen. And when you want to create a new background, you can create a right click, new, solid, and you can choose your color. So you can create a background. You can have multiple backgrounds as well. So just move it down, because in After Effects, a layer put on the top of another layer is considered to be displayed to your audience. We are going to learn more in depth of After Effects. Keep learning, keep moving ahead. Hi, welcome back, friend. Here in this practical exercise, we're learning how to create a composition in After Effects using built-in presets. So let's start. So go to Effects and Preset. Make sure it is available from Window. So just go to Backgrounds and use any of the presets there and just drag and drop on the background or the shape layer. So here we have used the circuit background applied on the solid. So here it creates some matrix like animation, and here you got a lot of controls or settings that you can change to make your effect look awesome or fine tune based on your requirement. Here I've changed the color of the background effect. I've changed the pipes to sky blue or lighter shade of blue. Similarly, you can apply some different effect on shape as well, or on text or anything else. Here I've applied the magma to the central uh, circular shape. So you can change the color of the midtones, or you can do a lot of things. You can change the rotation, time, or more. Here, let's create a new text here. Just use the text and type anything on the screen. Here I've written the code. We have to make it a little bigger to make it visible, and you can convert it to capital case and change the color. Let's make it white. And then using the selection tool, just reposition our text on the screen. Here I've placed everything in the center, and let's change the shape of this circle and make it a oval. So here we have changed the shape, and let's apply some effect on this text as well. Or when you move your text behind or in the lower direction of the layer panel, you know that which layer is put behind it is reflected by the lower sign here. Here you got a lot of effects. Just go to text effects and you can use any of the text effect. Here I will be using the mechanical algorithm effect. So here it looks like it is decoding. So it can create some hacking based documentary or programming series or something like that. Similarly, for different scenarios, there are already built in presets. So you don't need to create everything from scratch. Although with After Effects, you have to create everything from scratch to have a better control, or advanced effects can be created using After Effects. So when you are running out of time or you have a limited time constraint, you can use a built-in presets. Or basically a lot of beginners do also use this presets. You can use it to in a lot of effects. Some of the text animation are easy to implement. They look very advanced, and it has already been used by a lot of web series or and Hollywood movies. So you don't need to be fascinated by these effects. Some are just presets. So you can have a better balance of these things. You will learning more in the coming exercises. Till then, keep learning and keep moving ahead. Hi, after you have created a composition in After Effects, so the next obvious step is to convert it to a video. So there are two ways to convert it to a video. You can use the built-in render queue in After Effects, or you can use the media encoder. Here we will be exploring to use the render queue. So here you can add a video to render queue. It will be rendered later. So here you can have a lot of settings. You can change the output to a different format, but here the default format is AVI. AVI is a large file. It takes time to render as well. Here you got render settings. You got a lot of settings like the quality. You can set the time rate, work area, and frame rate. The default frame rate must be 29 or 30 frames per second. It would be perfect for all the scenarios, and just hit the render button once you are done with the setting. When you have a good GPU, then it renders faster as compared to non-GPU systems. And once you are done, it will be reflected here, and you can open and play that video. You are free to use that video in any of the video editing softwares to use in your documentaries or any video projects. Hi, welcome back. In the previous video, we have edited a video using render queue, and now it's time to use the media encoder. So Adobe Media Encoder is a different software that has a built-in presets to export or convert a video into various formats. You can create GIF format, you can create MP4 or more. The way is simple. Go to File, Export and Media Encoder, and the Media Encoder window will open in a few seconds. And if you have a good GPU and RAM, it will render very fast. So when the media encoder just pops up, you got a lot of options there. Just wait for a video to be screened. You can click here and choose the format. You can set the animated GIFs. You can set the MP4H .264 format, or you can use the QuickTime for Apple ecosystems. You have a lot of options here. You can export your video in almost any format, and you can go to the path where video is rendered and just use the play button to start exporting your video. When you have the GPU acceleration, you can use it. You got a CUDA GPU acceleration for NVIDIA RTX and GTX GPUs, or in a similar manner you can use GPU acceleration. And if you don't have, and the i7 or i5 would work smoothly, you can use. Let's play the video. Here I've created this video. This has exported in MP4 format, H264, and this is an ideal format. You can choose any format based on your requirement and keep building such projects. Keep learning, keep moving ahead. Hi, welcome back, friend. Here in this practical exercise, you are going to learn about some key building blocks of kinetic typography. Here you will be learning about opacity, scale, the concept of anchor points, the keyframes, where you can apply effects based on a particular moment of time. So let's start. Just first click the text option here to create a text. When you long press it on the left side, you got two options. You can create vertical text or horizontal text. So let's check the horizontal text, the default text option, and just try to drag a box here. This is the boundary where your text is placed. So then just write anything you want to write. So this is just, and select this text, and from the right hand side panel you can change the size of this text. You can make it a small, large, change the colors, apply different effects here. And this is using the selection tool, you can move your text anywhere on the screen. So now let's place it in the center of the screen. And this is the anchor point. Just imagine it as a pivot around which anything rotates, or you can use the pan behind tool to move the location of this anchor point. Place it in the center of the text. When it is placed in the right direction, you can use the selection tool and perform other things. So now I'm going to write some other text. Say amazing, and this is just amazing. It's a complete sentence. Make this a little big to add some effect. You can change the color. Let's make it white. So blue, white, and black looks amazing. The combination is good. You can place it at a different location and check whether it is written perfectly. Here, these two text are text layers. On the left hand side, you can see uh, these are two text layers. You can align them using the align option, align to the left, align to the right, with respect to each other on the screen. When you have multiple text, you can just make use of this alignment option for easing. Or otherwise, you can do manually align them. There's no difference. It's just for the convenience purpose. So when they are placed on the right location on the screen, you can move this timeline from timeline. You can move these layers to a particular location of time. Say these shows 1 second, 2 second. You can zoom in or zoom out. When you move the scroll option to the left side, it will zoom out. Otherwise, it will be zoom in. When I'm applying effect, the basic unit of a second I prefer to use. Some people use frames. Some people use a couple of seconds. I choose this thing. When you move this effect to the rightward direction, say the amazing text will appear from 1 second because it has been started there. So this is a simple effect. So you can check the windows and previews. When preview is available, you can play the effect, or you can use the space bar to play them again and again. So when you have applied this effect, so this is the basic effect. The timeline is this thing. So when you perfect the timeline, you can do anything else. So now just move to details. You can move this layer up or down because we want this text to appear first on the screen. So let's place it on the top to maintain a proper hierarchy. And then when you press the S or P or any other thing, you will get various options. Or you can alternately zoom it a bit, and you got 5 transformation tools by default. Or if you want to add more animation effects, you can add more animation effects. So here we will be applying opacity and scale. Initially, let's go to 0 second here. Move a bit, half a second say, and you can change the opacity using the rotation, or you can double click and manually change the opacity percentage. Say here, let's make it 50%. And this is the stopwatch icon. When you press it, the keyframes are set. You can perform animation based on the time. So this is the most important thing in After Effects or any 3D animation software, the concept of keyframes. So the first frame has been set at 0 second, and when you click it again, all keyframes are deleted. So when you want to create it again, press it. So now let's move the keyframe time pointer towards 1 second later, 1.5 seconds here. And when you click the diamond point here, it will set another keyframe. Don't press the stopwatch icon again and again. It will destroy your timeline. So here at this diamond point, we'll make the value 100%. So when it is in between the range of these two keyframes, the value will be dynamically changing from 0 to 100. So this is how it slightly appears. The opacity increases with respect to time over this 1 frame second. So these two keyframes animated this effect. So this is the basic thing. You can apply the same effect with position, scale, rotation, and much more. You will be learning in the coming videos. So here this is a simple opacity effect. And then we can create more such keyframes. Say, and the timing is important in kinetic typography. So you have to properly place the effects. So here we keyframe the scale at the 2 second time frame for the second layer. And this is the chain icon. When it is not selected, the value of x and y coordinates of this text will differentiate. So when the chain is selected, they both can be changed simultaneously. Say when you change the value of x coordinate, the y will be changed when the chain icon is selected. Or else you can try it here. So we have changed the this coordinate, first coordinate, to 100% again. So you can see that the first keyframe, it will be appearing from left hand side, and on the second keyframe, after a 1 second delay, it will appear on the screen. We have deleted these keyframes and try to create it again. And here let's change the value to 0, and here You can apply the keyframe. Just forget to apply the keyframes. Press the stopwatch icon. The first keyframe is applied, and then select the diamond option. And here, press the final value. So here the text looks. This is opacity, and this is scaling. It scales from left hand side. You can note here because the anchor point is located to the left hand side. Remember, I've said this. It works as a pivot. So just move this point pan using pan behind tool to any other location and the animation would be changed. So now it appears like it is appearing from the lower end of the line. Place it in the center and you can again change align it to different direction using the align tool, or you can change the location of this anchor point. Just change it again, place it in the center of the text and it will appear from within the text layer. You can also move it to outside the text as well. Say just move it towards the right end of the screen, top right end. So it looks like it is appearing from that point. It looks like you can add a sun there and array of sun would be appearing or a light effect. So this is amazing text. So how this is how you apply these two basic effects, the opacity and the scaling of the text. These are just a basic thing. When you apply it again and again and use a combination of text, it will create a good typographic effect. Opacity is the fundamental effect that is used in all kind of work and you will be using it with the combination. So now you have learned about the keyframes, how you can create the keyframe. Play it again and again and try to sync. If you are not satisfied with your work, you can change the value. So this is the speed graph. Uh, you will be learning about this in detail in the coming section, so don't worry about. You can also control the speed. So now just select these two keyframes and move to keyframe assistant by right clicking and select the easy ease. It will apply the smooth speed effect where the speed increases slowly and gradually picks up to the maximum and it will appear on the screen. So just apply for the instance here you can control the speed here just with the graph. So when you drag it towards the center, it means that the speed is generally slow in the beginning and in the middle of the curve, speed picks up very rapidly. So when you play it again, it looks cool. You're going to learn more about these effects and in depth in the coming videos. Till then, keep learning and keep moving ahead. Hi, welcome back, friend. We're learning kinetic typography with After Effects. And here in this practical exercise, you're going to learn about 3D rotation with text. So when you can animate a lot of text, in the previous exercise you learned about opacity and scale, and here we will be animating the rotation along the three coordinates x, y, and z. So let us first create a text, hola here, then amigo. These are the Spanish words for hello friend. You can write anything. Place it properly on the screen using the selection tool, and you can add more text using the text tool. When you keep those text in format of different words or different text layer, it would be easy to apply animation that is that looks cool to your end user. Hola amigo, buenos dias. Buenos dias is a Spanish word for good morning or good afternoon, you can say. So you don't need to learn Spanish here, but this is just for fun. So you can change the size, the color, and different text related thing with the text effect character control. You can move properly on the screen, place anywhere, and we will be applying different kinds of rotation to different words. You can also change the colors to make them different. So they are good morning means a sunny day. So let's make it yellow. Here we have chosen the yellow color. You can take any color. Just follow the steps and you will be learning things very easily, very quickly. So here we change the color again to the text. Adding a finishing would be better. Move it to the top side. Here we have four different layers of the text and you can rearrange them, make them 3D using this icon. When you click this cube icon, the layer is converted into 3D. So now you can perform rotation along the X, Y, and Z axis. If it is not in 3D, you can only perform the rotation along the X axis. So here we have not created it 3D, so you can rotate it along only one axis. When make it 3D, you got the three coordinates X, Y, and Z for rotation, as well as position and other things. So let's rearrange them on in the order of their appearance. Ola to be first. Apply transformation using these tools. So you can rotate it by a particular degree, or you can perform the number of rotation using the X times. So keyframe it, hit the stopwatch, place the diamond, keyframes, and rotate it to the desired location. So here we have applied a simple rotation along the X axis to the Ola. The rotation would also work with the anchor point. You can place anchor point accordingly. You can apply easing so that it will have a smooth effect. The same thing you need to follow again and again. You can create a time frames, apply easing to have a smooth effect. Be it any effect you apply, opacity, position, rotation, anything. The same things work well. So here it likes some paper or some holding is flipping to the top side. So this flipping effect is very smooth when you apply easing. So next now apply some other rotation along different axes to the second word amigo. The timing is important. You have to start the effect after the first rotation has been done. So here we animate along the Y rotation and put the keyframe there and now put a value 0. We are rotating the 90 degree and this was Ola appeared from lower end and Amigo appeared from left end. So now let us continue with other effects. Moving to the third word, the bonus. Here we try to animate along the Z axis. And just put any value to check, say 90 degree. So it is rotating along this side. Time frame it accordingly with respect to other layers. So when the second text layer completed, after that you have to start the animation with the third text. So now let's check it. Ola flipping from lower to top, Amigo from left to right, Buenos rotating along an anchor point. You can add opacity or any other effects when you want, or you can just try this thing. The point of this practical exercise is about rotation. You can get familiar with the X, Y, and Z rotation, and opacity you can add on the anchor points, the position scale, and other things. You already know how you can add the presets. So when you want to add the presets, you can also add. So when you practice the setting the keyframes, initializing the locations and different effects, transform tool, you can create a good typography presentation of your idea. So make the opacity to the dark at this keyframe, move to the starting, and you can apply, check the effect. When you are satisfied with your work, you can continue on, and until unless you are not satisfied, you can revise and recheck everything. So here we have applied the opacity again to the second word. We want it to be 0 initially. So when the rotation starts at that point of time, it should not be visible at all. So after it has been animated, started, rotation has started, it should start appearing on the screen. Similarly, for the third text, when the rotation has been done, you can keep the opacity rotation 0, opacity 0. That means it will be transparent or invisible. So let's check what we have done. Ola, when first text appear, second or third text are invisible. Similarly, when second text appeared, third text was invisible. So now it looks clean, better. Only a rotation would not do everything. You need to add opacity as well. So then you can also add opacity to the fourth at the point we are going to animate the fourth one. Now apply the rotation to the fourth text, and here we can animate what is left, X rotation, and provide a value -90 degree. We have keyframe these two things and make it 0. So this is the first text, hola, the second text, amigo, third text, buenos, and fourth text, yes. So they are appearing one by one with a different rotation effect applied to these texts. You can choose any combination of word, place it anywhere on the screen, and you can apply, make use of only these four things, X, Y, and Z rotation and opacity, and your animation would be very clean. You can replay your animation again and again uh, until and unless you are satisfied. So here are the Buenos and Dias are too much closer. We have to separate them by some distance. The words must not be that close because they won't be very clearly visible. You can play it over again after you have moved. So it Buenos has dragged a little downward. We can change its location. We are moving the anchor point actually. The rotation along anchor point, just imagine anchor point as a pivot. It works as a pivot of a pendulum or any dial. You can check. And now check it again. So it is rotating along its center. It is also a good animation. You can do a lot of things with a simple 3D rotation. Check them out. And when you have created your keyframes, you can also move them in a different direction. Apply easing. Don't forget to apply easing to all the time frames because it will look neat and clean. Simple. So try building your own solution. You're going to learn more in the coming videos. Till then, keep learning and keep moving ahead. Hi, welcome back, friend. We are learning kinetic typography, and here in this practical exercise, we're going to learn about position transformation. You have learned the main building blocks of transformation, opacity, rotation, scale, and now let's learn about position. These are the main building blocks of kinetic typography or text animation. Create multiple text. Here I have created a text called motion, and now second text is graphics. These are two different text layers. You can apply different text formatting from the effects control there, or can create more text as it. So you can convey your basic general idea with the kinetic typography. Here I've created motion graphics is just amazing. So I will be writing in 5 different text layers. You can write in a sentence, but the effect would not be that cool. You want to animate each and every word separately. So in order to animate each and every word separately, you have to create them separately. Change the colors of the text. You can choose any of the color you want. Here I've taken the blue. You can place them with a proper distance to each other where you want them to appear. Apply the colors to different text. Choose a color combination. And now we can change the anchor point. We are doing the same thing again because this is the vital for learning. You can't animate just a position. You have to animate a lot of different things. So here we have rearranged these text layers in the order of their appearance. You can also place these text by moving this slider. You can create gaps between the text in order of their appearance. You can choose opacity controller, or you can directly just do this thing, slide the text layers in the order of the gap. Here I'm taking just 1.5 second gap between two different text layers. So when the motion has appeared for 1.5 second, then I can animate these things. So it is a cool technique, a quick technique. Keyframe the position, and starting with half a second, I want this text to appear from outside of the screen. You can animate the X or Y axis. I'm animating this X axis. It will appear, I want this text to appear from the horizontal axis from the left hand side of the screen to the right position where it should be there. So the motion will be appearing from left side. So this is how it will look later on. These basic text animations are used in most advanced typography effects. You can apply easing to give a clean effect and finishing. Just move this thing towards the center. The speed should be gradually increasing with respect of time. So it will look like it is a racing car. It will appear very quickly on the screen. Then after this text has appeared, we can have a break of half a second, and then we want to animate this second text, make it 3D, and then you can apply position in the 3 dimension X, Y, and Z axis. So you can control a text in 3D. When we are moving a text along the Z axis, it looks like the size is changing with respect to time. We can change the size, or you can change the Z axis, whatever you feel perfect. So we can animate this thing. When you are having an effect, say your screen is moving, then animating along the 3D Z axis would be far different from scaling. Okay, so you can use a combination of these three. Say I want our text to appear from the top side and change its location in the Z direction as well. It will be appearing in 3D. So okay, after a second, we want this text to appear from top to the center of the screen and to scale up or to come in forward of the Z direction. So we are changing this. We are animating along two different axes, Y axis and Z axis. Okay, so it is coming gradually. So now after this screen has appeared on the screen, this text has appeared on the screen. Now we can animate a third text. You can reposition it properly on the screen as in how you want this text to appear. And don't forget to provide a proper gap between the different text. Apply easing as before, or you can keep it default. Just move it slightly towards the center and it will be cool. Okay, so its speed gradually takes up and falls smoothly. And then we have the third text. It should be appearing here. So at this point of time, we want to animate the position where we should bring this text from. We can use a horizontal, vertical, or different direction. So let's bring it from right side of the screen to the center of the screen. After a second of delay, we want our text to appear on the screen. From the lower end of the right side, Or you can just simply use the mouse cursor to reposition your text. No need to just go and change the value every time. But when you change the value, it will be precise. You get a better control. So it depends on you how you want to use. So here we have created. You can zoom out the screen to have a clear view, and you can zoom it again. Apply easing to keep it smooth. The motion graphics is these three text appear on the screen. And you can also apply opacity here. We want our text to slightly have the opacity, gain the opacity with respect of time. You don't need to apply opacity to all the text. You can apply to a selection. Don't repeat the effects. Keep each and every word differently animated. A same effect when it is repeated again and again, it becomes predictive. So with the kinetic typography, the main thing is element of surprise. You want to surprise the user to grab his attention. So when you want to surprise, you have to change the effects. Say one text must appear from the left hand side of the screen, one must appear on from top, one must have different opacity as well as position, one should have a rotation and much more. So here we have just changed these four text layers, reposition it properly and keyframe, and then we'll go to the fourth text layer. You can place more text, but don't place a lot of text on a single screen. It will be a lot of bulkier. Keep it simple. Put the main idea on your screen, and rest you can handle with your voice. You can add a music or voice later on. You can change the position. Let's bring it from the downward direction to the center of the screen, and it is now coming. So here we have the 5. Let's replay this thing. Apply easing before. This made everything. People generally forget this easing effect. So here it is very cool. So motion graphics is just fun. You can replay it over and over again to fine tune your effect. I've attached the file. You can download this and practice. And we are going to learn more of such text animations in the coming videos. Till then, keep learning and keep moving ahead. Hi, welcome back friends. We're learning kinetic typography in After Effects, and here in this practical exercise, you are going to learn about hue color. When you want to create a text that has multiple colors or rotating hue, you can use this effect. So we created a text and just putting the anchor point behind using the pan behind tool in the center. You can keep initial color and of your choice. Let me make it red, green, or anything you want. Just choose a proper color because it will be rotating on a degree value. So the value would be changed. Don't take white or black completely here. So just go to animate, and here you have a lot of options. You can use the fill color and hue. Now you got the hue. Just keyframe this thing and you can use the fill hue. So when you want to start this effect, the change of color dynamically, you can keep position it at that point, and when you want to stop it, you can stop it. You can make a rotation based on the degree or number of times. Say if you put 360, it would mean one complete revolution. So from blue to red, green, orange, then it will again come back to blue, and so on. So here I have applied the effect to a single character. You can apply to a character or a complete word or sentence. So when you want to apply for a complete sentence, you can just repeat the process for the complete sentence. Just select the entire text, apply hue, or you can simply delete that effect or retry it again. When you use the different presets, there are various presets, but something, if you want to have a better control, you can create from starting. So let me repeat the process. The fill colors and fill hue. So we start just say half a second, keep it red, and then rotate it for 1 second. Keyframe it again. Say put any value 180 degree. So let's look. Here the color is changing with time, and then it suddenly stops. You can apply easing as well, but with the change of color, easing doesn't look very cool. So it is better not to use easing. Keep it smooth. The different interval, you can do one thing, that you can change the speed. Say for 1 second, put it single rotation. For another 2 seconds, you can use 3 rotation, 4 rotation. You can accelerate the speed based on the time. Now you can add a different properties here. Say stroke color. You can also add stroke hue. Say okay, so we have applied only fill. So in the same manner, you can apply the hue, rotating hue effect to the stroke, the outline of the text. It can be done in a simple manner. The keyframe, everything. I've just copied it, or similarly, it exists. So we have cancelled the fill. Then if fill is not showing, you can choose a contrasting color, say the monochromatic theme or complementary. If you are animating both the stroke and fill together. But most people prefer using either the fill or the stroke. It's your choice. It will add different tones to your kinetic typography project. You can have the motions of the typography and the color of this hue, and you can mix with your information. So you got different presets here. If you want to apply some effects to the background or nature, so here we have behavior. So if you want it to wiggle around, you can use the wiggle drama or other things. Let's check it out. And on the left hand side, effects control, you got a lot of panels to, lot of option to control. You can control it or just press Control Z in order to reverse it. See here it is bumping. You can use this effect on cinematography projects as well. When you want to showcase a disco party, anything, you want to create a simple video for your personal use, you can use it. It will shift slightly downwards, gradually down over time. You got a lot of presets to use. You can apply to behaviors background. Behavior can be applied to both the text, object, as well as solid, whereas background is applied to the solid. Here you can choose the rotation where you want to diffuse, to the lower side, upper side. Just try to apply a combination so it looks cool. The text changes the color as well as its position on the screen, and it moves very swiftly over time. You have the more control, say rotation, but rotation depends on the anchor point. If you don't want anchor point to be centered, you can move it outwards or anywhere else using the pan behind tool. Pan behind tool is very effective. You can turn on and off the effects using the effects option. You can delete the entire effect as well, and you can apply other effects. You can also choose a combination of different effects here. I provided in the project a resource file. You can download it and you can create your own project or edit it based on your requirements. Keep practicing this thing. If you practice a lot, you will learn things together and try to combine them. Say I want to apply some effects to the background, not to the text. You can apply any solid here. You have seen this effect on multiple kinetic text. So here the text is moving, but we want to move the background. So do the same thing, apply the behavior to the background, or you can keyframe any of the things here because it got a lot of options. Just apply the same effect that you were applying on the text. So here the text is moving as well as the background is moving. It looks like a party scene or an entry for some blog or some entertaining stuff. You can apply different presets. It looks cool. You can make your own choice, and when you are done, you can export it. So you can do a trial. A color theory would be helpful to apply this thing. If you're someone not from the design background, it will help you create an awesome file. So we're going to learn more things in the coming videos. Till then, keep learning and keep moving ahead. Hi, welcome back. So in this practical exercise, you're learning about color correction and masking in After Effects. So let's start. Let's create a new composition from scratch. We have 1920 by 1080 and let's import a video for color grading. Here I have a beach coast, an empty without any person or animal, and it is a clean cloudy day. So here there are the sea waves, a clean sandy beach, and a cloudy day. So we want to color grade it, add sunshine, or we can change the color of the sea waves. So just move to effects and presets, the color options, and here just use the auto color. There are a lot of options. Drop this effect, and here as you can gradually see, it has been darkened a bit and the details are more clear. So here you got a control. You can change the opacity, the black clip, the white clip. You can clip the dark sections of the video, or you can clip the white section of the video. You have used Photoshop or any photo editing tool like Lightroom uh, that applies your effects on an image, and here with After Effects you can apply the effect on a video, live video. So it is little difficult. Here our color correction has made the water more blue and sand more dark. So here the water and the beach is clearly distinguished. You can differentiate between these two, and the cloud has been differentiated as well. But when you don't have any effect, it was messed up. So sometimes color grading is important uh, to add more details. All the movies on Hollywood and Bollywood use a lot of color grading. They have a color scheme. When you use the CC toner, you can control the midtones. Say the midtones could be green, yellow, anything, any color you can add. You can add 5 midtones, multiple highlights, and the saturation. Just play with these tools and you will learn color grading an advanced level. After Effects is used for motion graphics and visual effects, and visuals involve a lot of colors. So when you have a better understanding of the color, your visuals would be good. Sometimes, say, when you want to shoot historical scene or for documentary or movies, so you want them to look vintage. So here, just mask something. You can mask a component of the video. Say here, I want to mask a sea wave. So just draw with a pen tool the outline of the sea wave. You can select anything, say without disturbing the sand and the cloud. I can change the color of the sea wave. So here the sea waves are masked roughly, not exactly but roughly. So just apply the CC toner effect only exclusively to this mask. So the concept here is we can have two different clips of the same video. Just import the second one just below this masked clip. So we apply mask only a particular section, the clipped section, the wave, and rest images remain the same. So here just change the color, make it more blue, you can make it green. You can have a green ocean, you can have a red ocean, anything you want. You can change the color of your ocean water. It is not a very clearly visible. You should have more mask in a layered fashion. Say you have to select the ocean and a border between the ocean and the sand and more to have a graduate saturation or a clear difference. So here this mask doesn't look realistic. You have to make realistic mask. It depends on from scene to scene. Sometimes you can get a clip where masking can be applicable, and sometimes it won't be applicable. So you have to depend on the situation. You can mask a single person, mask something, some object that is clearly visible or more. You can change the midtones accordingly. Midtones are the section of the image or video that are not either completely bright or completely dark. Every time we apply color grading, we can raise the midtones. You can also alter the boundary line of this mask. Let's change it to add more area to the sea. So here we have added this uh, sometimes a little boundary for beach and water, or you can change the boundary as well. You can also cover the entire sky if you choose to edit it. You can have a lot of area in this way. Here it looks a little better than the previous one, and you can also change the color one more time. You can also apply one more mask to the sand or some sections of the sand. You can add more mask, just try to use a lot of color grading effects, and when you are done you can export this video using the render queue or the media encoder. With render queue you will get the AVI format. It will be large, it takes time to render, and when you have the media encoder, Adobe media encoder, you can export in almost any format of the video with more control and precision. Keep learning, keep moving ahead, and try building your own solution. Hello, welcome back, friend. Here in this practical exercise, we will learning about map animation, where you could show your travel destination on the map. And so here we have a simple world map, and let's create a new solid. The solid will show the direction. Actually, solid is a background, and we will be using it to create an arrow. So let's have it. So here we have a solid. Choose any color because it will be changing. So it doesn't matter. So let's make it big and use the pen tool to mark the direction. When you click once on a location, it will draw a point. But when you left click and drag, you will get handles to control the curve. So here we want to create a curvature, not the line. So you can do this, or you can use other tool to create a curve. So here we have a source in Brazil and destination will traveling to South Korea. So here in this map, we will be using these 2 points. So then just go to effects, generate, and just generate a stroke. So here is a stroke, and here you get a lot of controls. We just need to do a little changes, make it transparent, make this stroke a little bigger, and put this background image on top of the precomposition, the map. And here just change the color of the stroke. So yellow must match this background because the background is in wooden shade. Otherwise, it depends on your choice. Here we have an arrow, a curve linking Brazil to South Korea, and change. You got a lot of control. You can change the opacity of this brush, or you can do a lot of changes. You can have this in a dotted manner or a continuous line or any other format you want. Here I'm interested in getting a continuous line, so it will be better. We will be animating this line because we want this map to rotate a bit on 3 dimension, and the stroke will start from Brazil and get completed at Singapore. So it will show the direction. You have seen the similar maps on various blogs on YouTube and other websites. So we will be creating a similar stuff. You should learn these concepts, and after you learn these things, you can apply it. Here we have keyframe this end. So initially make it 0, and after some time you can make it 100%. So it starts from Brazil and completes as South Korea. It is equivalent to adding trim path. You can do trim path, or you can control it from the stroke effects panel. You can select these two keyframes and drag their location in or out wherever you want. So you can apply easy ease, because easing will gradually increase your speed, or you can do a lot of changes here. You got a property control. Say here, or this flight trip starts from Brazil and completes at South Korea in a slow fashion. You can add other keyframes, make it a bit thicker. It looks smaller, but when we zoom in the next video, you will be learning how to rotate this map completely. So there we will be zooming in. So this stroke will appear bigger. Just you need to keyframe this end and make it 100% when it is. And now after it has reached the South Korea, we want a circle to appear next to South Korea. So just get a new circle from the shape drawing tool and draw a circle. Here we have to make the fill transparent and opacity stroke as a little thick. We want a red colored stroke, and we want it to be in the background. Use the selection tool to drag it behind this main curvature of our trip, and we want this circle to start. It will show actually landing when our flight is landing at the place. It shows a shock wave or something like that. So it must start just after our landing has been done. So just scale it to 0 at the point the landing is completed, and wait for a second and make it 100% the scale. So after that, or you can make it a little bigger, 150, or you can use the chain tool here to change the coordinates of both x and y axis simultaneously, or you can change them separately. Here you got the speed control. Just make it to the center, so it will start slowly and then complete rapidly. Here is a preview. So this animation looks nice. You can revise it or change the color or make the stroke a little bigger based on your choice. You can change the color as well. And the next video we will be learning about animating this using null and rotating in 3 coordinates. You can change the color. You can make it blue, red, or any other color. So blue looks cool. Hi, now moving forward with our map effect. Now we should add a camera. Just go to new camera. We would require the default configuration, but if you want, you can customize it based on your requirement and then just add a null layer. Null layer is a transparent layer. It doesn't exist. We have to just pick whip the camera to null because we want a camera to follow null layer, and we have to make all the layers in 3D, and we have to pick whip all the layers to null. So in that case, when we apply any effect, say position, rotation, orientation, everything, it will be applied to all the layers that are connected to null. And when we move null, the camera would track this null layer. So here we would be interested in applying 3D rotation on this null layer. So X, Y, and Z, all three coordinates, we need to keyframe everything. So just move half a second and just keyframe the position, scale, and three coordinates for rotation. So just initially we need to define a basic location. Here our starting location is Brazil. So we want a western hemisphere of the globe to be in focus. And when we are moving to South Korea, so at that point we want eastern hemisphere of Earth to be in focus, and it will appear bigger or closer to the audience. So we want that kind of rotation. Try to adjust the position, scale, and rotation so that the black part of the screen is not visible. The screen is completely covered by our map. So we adjust this and now tilt it a bit, the X rotation, the Y and the Z coordinate. So just move them slightly. This effect is quite common on blogging and production documentaries, and people use this thing very much. So this is very frequently used. Here, just keyframe and move 1.5 seconds say later, or any time interval you want, and just uh, rotate this map to other side of the world. You can rotate using the cursor mouse. Just left click on the value and just drag towards left or right, the direction where you want to rotate, or you can use the value, provide your numerical value right from the keyboard. You have to adjust it. There is no hard bound rule from the value of coordinates. And just reposition it, move it towards the center, and the red square is what null is there. So you can identify this null. Null is not visible, but it is a simplified technique to apply a transformation to a transformation or any effect to all the layers that are connected. Individually, if try to apply some effect on the in all the layers, it would be difficult or time taking. So null replaces all this. So this is a preview of our animation. It looks cool and it rotates. It stops just before the impression on South Korea is there, the blue circle. So here just refine it. We need to add a text. It would be better. We want to label the Brazil and South Korea. So you have to choose the font or color accordingly. Here we have used the wooden background. So the brown text for Brazil would be better. So here we just place Brazil on the location, and it is not moving because it is not in 3D and it is not connected to the null. So let's make it 3D and connect to the null object. And when you convert an text layer or any other layer to 3D, gets a little bit trickier to adjust its position because there are other layers that are there. So you don't have clear visibility over this. You can get more details by adjusting the view, the camera, but here we don't need that kind of precision. So let's readjust using the simple transformation tools. You can adjust the position, the size, and anything you want. So just fit it towards continent. In the Amazon rainforest, the Brazil is there. And when we move to the eastward side, the B comes out of this continent a little bit. So let's readjust it a bit. So it is done. And now we want to label the South Korea. Just create another text and just place it right over the ocean because South Korea is small in size. So these two words won't fit there when we have the global view. So let's put the South Korea on South China Sea or Pacific Ocean. You can change the text size. You want everything in capital case. You can uh, make it a small letter or first letter appear bigger. So South Korea is placed. Also make it 3D and replace it accordingly. So here we have placed the South Korea, and you can preview this effect again and again. So when you preview everything, just make sure that whatever you try to present is actually presented, and we have to refine it again and again if it doesn't look good to your eyes. So when you are happy with your work, your audience would be happy as well. So here, this is simple thing. When you are done, just export this video and use it using any video editing software to any of your vlog or documentary. Keep learning, keep moving ahead. Hi, welcome back friends. Here in this practical exercise, you're learning how to do camera tracking. With camera tracking, you can place an image, an object, a text on the video, and it will stick to a particular point of the video. So here we have just created a new composition and just import a video, and here we have a clean short video of an hill fort, and here we want to place some images. So just check that in Windows the tracker option is enabled or not. If it is not enabled, just check it, so it will be visible. So just select the video and hit the track camera option. So here it will start tracking your camera uh, when it is moving on the video. So it will put the track points on the video. If you are from a cinematography background, you would understand this very easily. You have already know about green screen and putting all of the tracking markers manually. This thing can be done in the post production using After Effects, where you place the tracking points after a video is recorded. So when you have the track points on the screen, it could be any object like stones on the left hand side, as you can see in the video, or anything else. You can identify those points and place something on that. That could be an image, text, or anything else. So here we got all the track points for this video. It is a short video and we got a lot of track points. These are multiple colors, and here you got a lot of options to do edit. Let's place some coins and currencies here. So let's make it look like a game level. So here it may look like you are playing a game and moving to a next level. This gate signifies the level. And let's place some coins or something like that. You can place a tag text here, put your name if you're using creating a blog, or put anything. You can put your logo and just right click after selecting a track point to create a new solid or text, whatever you feel like. And just go to the track solid, just right click, do pre-composition, just create a pre-composition. So this way it will create a new composition for After Effects, and just put an image or text that you want to do, and just delete the previous image and resize it to put your object on the screen. So this way the black part of this composition would be transparent, it will go away, and here you will be left with your transparent uh, PNG image or any vector you put. You can use any vector or PNG format is recommended over JPG because JPEG have the white background. So here you can rotate or place this thing. So just focus. The coin is not moving with the video. Coin is put on that point. This is the magic of track points. Track point is very powerful thing. This is one of the key features of After Effects. You can't do this thing in simple video editing softwares. So these are the very powerful techniques. When you master it, you could create awesome videos. So in the next part, we'll be adding more component to place some point here, something on the wall of this. So you can put a lot of stuff here. You can put a text here. The wall appears darker. So whatever component you put here, it will be vibrant and easily visible to the audience. So you can add a lot of thing here. You got this video and you got a 3D camera tracker. You can copy the same coins on the multiple levels. It will denote these stages. Similarly, you could have your own videos to track. When you are shooting a vlog, you want to put some holdings on the screen, some text, some images. You want to place some person there. You can also place a video there. It depends on the GPU capacity, processing capacity of your system, uh, which will determine the time taking for this editing to be done. Hi, welcome back, friend. Now adding more component to our video using TrackMat. So let's do it. You can check or uncheck the render track points to make them visible or invisible, depending on your choice. So here, just put any wall of the fort. So here, just put a text here. Right click, put a text here. Create text, and you can rescale this text from the control moving there. Just press S to control the scale, or you can alternatively use the bounding box to re-change the size of the text. So here just select this text, go to the options and make it change something here. Just make it level 2, change the size. We want it to be in capital letters, so make it in capital, all capital, and change the color a bit. You can change the color easily using the color fill. Make it some vibrant color. Just check which color matches with the background and gets to your feeling. And when you're done with color change, you can move forward with adding more components. So here, let's select any tag. You can choose any of the track point, but be careful because the track point must be parallel to the screen where you want to display. They could easily get inclined or unmatched to the scenario. So here this is located at a suitable place, but we want to change this direction to a different wall, or you can add something more here. So let's add some more coins here. Just create a new solid by right clicking a track point and then again just pre-compose this solid. And here when we got a new solid, just place some vectors or images that you have. Be sure to add a transparent background for the images. So in that case, it won't look like an image, it will look like a component replaced right on the video. When you're using Photoshop or Illustrator, here I'm using a vector that is created using Illustrator. So I've created this as a PNG file. You can also use direct vectors like SVG and Illustrator files in After Effects. So here you got these three rotations when you make it 3D object, and you can check it. So here we can rescale them and just replay the video again. So when you replay the video, you can make sure that the things are happening as you are planning to do. So when it looks cool to your eyes, it will be suitable for your audience as well. So just place these coins a little bit lower and you can adjust the label text on the different side. So here just make it a little big because it was not visible when we were starting this level. It should be visible. So that angle is not good. You can change the angle or rotate it a bit. It does not require that it should match to the previous or the default configuration. You can change the location, place it somewhere else, or rotate it on different directions. You have all three handles for position and rotation, X, Y, and Z, and you can place accordingly, adjust on your own basis. So here on the right hand side, we got a darker background and it is clear. It won't go out of the screen. Just put it little lower to the ground and it remains roughly to the center of the screen. And with the effects and presets, you got a lot of effects here. You can apply some hue color effect or rotating pulsar or something like that on the text. And when you apply this effect, you got some text effect as well. So it is changing the color because we were using a rotating hue, and you can create this effect. So it looks like it is a game level and the level of the game is changing. It looks like something Subway Surfer or Mario where you can get rewards like coins. This warning may occur sometimes when you by mistake click some layer on the composition screen. So just simply ignore it and go to the main composition screen. Nothing is missed there. You have to just edit your everything on main composition and just check it. So it is done very smoothly and the label and the coins are placed accordingly. And when we pass this level, we are moving out of the gate, moving one level upward. So this was the concept of the video. You can practice these things on your own. Try with your own videos. Sometimes with a few videos that may have some shaky background or the video is very fast moving, the objects are untrackable. So those videos don't get tracked uh, tracked easily. You can't apply the track points in those videos. Otherwise, in most of the videos can be tracked. You can place trackers on almost a lot of videos and you can create an awesome documentary or a travel vlog or something else you want to shoot. So try building your own solution, keep learning, keep moving ahead. Hi, welcome back friend. Here in this practical exercise, you will be learning about pie chart animation with After Effects. So let us draw a ring first. It will be a circle. Ring is a circle which don't have any fill and it has a thick stroke. So have the proper configuration here. Make the fill null and stroke with a proper width and choose any color. We have taken this white color. So now next step is to rename this ring because the shape layer one would be very big. Let's make it white ring. So in that case, we could refer it very easily. Now we want to add one more ring that will show our data, that is animated data. So let's choose any color, say change this to green. So we have this green progress on the white background. Just rename this ring to green ring for proper referencing because we will be using expressions that will require referencing. So now just add a trim path. Just go to add trim path. This is trim path. It will allow us to animate this ring. So just go to end, make it 0 initially. We have gone to half a second, keyframe it, and after 1 second or so, just add one more keyframe and make it 100%. So in this case, it will start from 0 and become 100%. So let's make it visible. We have invisible. Okay, so it is working. So progress bar is moving very fast. So let's delay it half a second. So it is nice. So this is our prime animation. So this will be the background ring. When it is done, at that point of time, we want our second ring to start. Just press bracket, open bracket, where you want your timer to start. Similarly, add a trim path to this ring as well. Perform the same. operation, make it 0 initially, the end timer, and after 1.5 seconds, just make it 100%. So in this case, this ring will overlap the previous one. Okay, but here we want our progress bar to start at any in between value. We don't want it to be uh, exactly 100%. We want it to show some fraction, say 80%. So we can just go to the end keyframe here for the second ring and make it 80%. You can make any percentage, 30, 40, 50, any discrete value, anything you want, 39, 21, anything. So this progress bar will stop at this point. So now let us add a number which will reflect the current value of the progress bar, the green color pi. So let's make it a little lighter shade of green so it will match. You can choose any color, place it in the center, move the anchor point to the center of this digit, and then now let's animate it. We need to add an expression to the digit number text. So just expand it and move to the stopwatch icon in the text. Here we have the source text. Just Alt and left click this stopwatch, and this will open the expression tab. And here we want to write some expression in order to perform computation. So here we want our progress bar to reflect. Just write math.round. This will be a function, and this dot comp dot layer, and provide the name of the ring. So here we have the green ring. Just provide the name green ring, and after add the dot content, and in the braces add the trim path 1. So trim path will be the function that will be taken care of here, and dot end. So this will the end parameter of trim path will be taken into consideration. So the number value of the number will reflect to the circle. You can check it back. Here the trim paths 1 is written. You can rename it. It's not a problem. So just check it out. So here the number is reflecting the ring value. You can press the space bar to preview your animation, and when it is running properly, you can proceed with the next step. So our animation is running as expected, and now we can add one more text. So just before the percentage counter, we can write the percentage text. So just write percent and make it a small size to fit in the ring, and it will be a beautiful effect. Similarly, we can add the same progress bar and expression to other charts, line chart, bar chart, and different infographic content in the similar manner. We are going to learn more in the coming exercises. Till then, keep learning and keep moving ahead. Hi, welcome back, friend. In the previous exercise, you have learned about pie chart animation like this. And here in this practical exercise, we will be taking it to the next level. We can add images. Say here we have two images, one of desert and one of grassland. Just import them one by one. So here first import the desert one because we want a desert to be background. So just resize it by simple mouse scroll, or you can zoom in, zoom out. Just open this track matte option from lower side of left side, and just select this track matte option, alpha matte to the white ring. So here we want to add an image to the outer ring. So this is the desert, and just do the same thing for the percentage counter. Place a next image, replace it because we want a green grass to appear on the background. So here this is called masking actually, and we are applying it using the track matte. So have a look. It looks very clean and nice. So this percentage could be shown the percentage of grassland and desert land in the world. So similarly, you can present your idea When you can't just use a simple color, you can add images to your data. You can thicken this stroke to have a more contrast to the image. And here you can choose to increase the width of either of the circle, or you can increase the width of both the rings. So here it looks very cool. Try to add your own images to tell a story, because data visualization is not just about data, it's about how you present your data. Keep learning, keep moving ahead. We are going to learn more in the coming exercises. Hi, welcome back. In the previous exercise, we have added mask to our pie chart animation. And here in this practical exercise, we are going to perform some key transformations like rotation and opacity. So let's start. So first select all the layers and right click pre-compose, because we want them to be better managed. When you have the pre-composition, you can apply any transformations together on a single layer that will reflect on all the layers. It will be easy to handle all the layers. Pre-composition also helps in big projects when you have a lot of content and your timeline is very limited. So let's keyframe the scale. So just put a timeline. Initially make it 0, and after some time, say 1.5 seconds, and it will appear like it is growing from 0% to 100%. So here we are interested to show two different percentages. The background sand layer growing to 100%, and next the counter of the grassland to 80%. So let us just reduce the size after some time. Say here after a second, when it is 100%, make it 80%. So your data would be conveyed through two mediums, three mediums actually. The pie chart, the percentage counter, and the growing pie chart. So here we have keyframe the scale with respect to time. You can replay them again and again to check. Then apply rotation. Make it 3D, because when it is 3D, you have got better control in X, Y, and Z direction. Let's check with Y direction. So just put any point. Say initially at half a second, put a keyframe to Y and Z rotation, Z rotation. And when it is 100% scaled, then you can apply some transformation. Say rotate it towards the right hand side a little bit, so it will look like it is tinting as well as growing. Similarly, you can rotate it on its axis as well. So let's check it out. So it looks good. You can add more effects. Just try to add one more keyframe at 80% and try to rotate it in the reverse direction. But be careful, because sometimes when we try to apply to contrasting effect very quickly, it won't look very cool. So here it is rotating very fast. We are interested to change its speed. It won't be rotating that much faster. So here just keyframe it, and the rotation would be a little bit change, not very significant. Just keyframe and change it a little bit, not very much. Just move it like it is getting into center, front facing view, and it will be a little bit tinted. So here just have a look, replay it again. So it looks cool. When you have a background, it will be a good storytelling medium. So you got data, you got to represent it using mask and images, and you can apply key transformations. Just imagine what you can build based on these three features. Try building your own solution. You will be learning more in the coming exercises. Till then, keep learning and keep moving ahead. Hi, welcome back friend. Here in this practical exercise, you're going to learn about Excel Smart Art and how you can use the predefined built-in smart objects from Excel to After Effects. So in this is first part, and here we are just creating a smart art. Let's create a pyramid. Here we have a pyramid with three levels: the top level, the average, and the mid lower level. So here these are the three different levels. We can add text, we can add the colors. You can take any of the smart object, be the flowchart, process, hierarchy, anything. And we will be importing it to Excel. So let's change the color from the Excel for the text and make it small or big, whatever you feel like. So let's make them big. A lighter shade of each and every color, say orange, yellow, and gray. We are taking the lighter shade and we are scaling this up. And then the next step is to select the entire smart object. You can select the entire smart object, resize it properly, and just copy it. Just do Control C and paste it on Illustrator, Adobe Illustrator. And here we can separate the layers of each object that we want to animate. So here we can animate these three things. You can't directly just import a Excel chart in After Effects. You have to use these steps. So here, as you can see, when you go to the layer option, you got a lot of different layers that are and groups that are there. So you have to categorize them. Just put three different layers and we are rearranging them. You don't need to be very perfect in Illustrator. This is a simple thing. Using this method, you can do a lot of visualization with very ease. So here we have three different layers and this text was missing. You can search it and put it right place. And when you are done, you have to save this Illustrator file and we will be importing it in After Effects in three different components. In the similar manner, you can also import other smart object from Excel to Illustrator and you have to rearrange its component into multiple layers. The layers you would be interested to perform various operations or transformations using After Effects. In the next part, we are going to learn about how you can import these separate layers of Illustrator file into the After Effects and perform operation. So stay tuned. Keep learning, keep moving ahead. Hi, welcome back friend. Here in this practical exercise, we are going to just import the Illustrator Smart Object from Excel. So just select the Illustrator file you want to import. Be careful about the settings. If it is not correctly done, you won't get the layers you want. So here, just select the Illustrator file and below if a default setting has been selected, it won't work. You have to select the composition retain layer size. Now just put it on the top of the layer and it works as a pre-composition. So you have to double click and you have different layers. Just move the anchor point to the lower center because we want to apply scaling effect in all three layers. So here the three layers are retained perfectly well. So just put them according to their sequence. We want the lower part to appear first at around half a second. Use the selection tool. Put the timeline of each layers over an interval of 1 second. You can choose any of your time. 1 second would be perfect for me. Here just go to scale, uncheck this chain option and click the stopwatch and make it 0 initially, the y-axis. And after a second, just make the y-axis to 100%. So here you got an effect, a clean effect of this pyramid rolling up from the ground to the top. Similarly, just copy the same effect, same keyframes, and paste it on the higher layers. You would get the same thing. You can apply easing. If it looks good, you can go for it. If it don't looks good, you can have the general expression. So here just apply the same effects on the second layer and the top layer. So here we got a clean animation of flowchart. It doesn't take a lot of time to animate. You can use already pre-existing smart art from Excel and directly import it on After Effects and create an amazing animation. Keep learning, keep moving ahead. Hi there, in this practical exercise, we're going to learn about bar chart animation in After Effects. So let's start. Here we have a background color, and if you want to create a new, just right click, new, solid, and just change the color. Here we will take a lighter shade of blue to be our background. Press OK. Here we have a new background. Just delete the previous one. We don't need it anymore. Then we need to draw the axis. Use the pen tool and draw a straight line. Try to draw a straight line. If you don't draw, just feel free to press Ctrl Z so it will roll back to the previous version. So here we have the X and Y coordinates. Make the fill empty or transparent and make the stroke available. Fix the stroke color and size of your choice. Make it a bit thinner so it will be a perfect axis. So here we have our axis of width 12, stroke size 12, and now we can draw our bar charts. So for bar, we will be using a square or rectangle shapes. So here this is our shape layer. If you want, you can rename. Otherwise, just continue with drawing a bar chart. Just draw a square here. You can zoom in or zoom out at your convenience. Here we don't want any stroke to be there. We just want a fill color. To be a darker shade of blue, it will be okay. Or you can change the color according to your choice. You have your own color choice here. You can decide your color or design. You can add some image to the background, whatever be your choice. So here we have a light darker shade of blue. And now use the selection tool and just replicate this square shape multiple times because we want a bar chart with similar width over a proper interval. Let's rename it bar 1 and just control C and control V the copy and paste it here, and just here we just can use the position and relocate it in the X coordinate. We don't want to change the Y coordinate, just the X coordinate. And similarly, we have different bars. We can create 3, 4, 5, any number of bar charts you want. So here let me take 4 bar charts, just reposition them on a proper interval and it will be fine. Just move to the first bar chart, select and press P to change the position and zoom it a bit. Let's make it half a second. We want our first bar to appear. Select all the bars and you can press the this opening bracket to start their timing. Place them accordingly. Over an interval of 1 second, I'm placing them apart. So the first chart will appear at half a second, second will appear at after 1 second, third will after 1 second of second, and so on. So here we have the position. So now we want to change the anchor point and move it to the lower center of this shape. Similarly, do this for all the charts. Obviously move the timer. So in that case, it will be visible. to you. So now let's put the anchor point on the remaining shapes to the lower center because we want our animation to start from the x-axis. We want our bar charts to grow from the zero value of the y on the x-axis. You can keyframe the position, but it won't work. We want to keyframe the size. So just press S by selecting any of the shape, or you can just move to the details, and here you have the scale. You have to uncheck this chain option because we don't want to change the value of x and y. We just want to change the value of y because we want to freeze the x-axis here. So just make it 0 in the starting and at the end make it 100% for the first chart. So it looks like it is growing. Let's apply the similar effect on the second bar. Move the scale tool, uncheck the chain option. If the chain option is enabled, the value of x and y will be relatively changed. We don't want to change both, so we are disabling this. So here let us make it 200% because we want our second bar chart to appear bigger than first one. So let's replay it. So okay, this will be the animation. It looks cool. Then let's animate the third bar. Do the same thing. Select a scale, uncheck the chain, put the first keyframe, make it 0, and the second keyframe over an interval of 1 second and make it 350 because we want our third bar chart to appear bigger than the first and second one. Similarly, for the fourth one, do the same thing. Go to scale and change the value, initial value to 0 and final value, the keyframe to say 600. Don't worry, it will happen if the chain option will be selected. You have to deselect the chain option and apply the effect once again. So uncheck it and put the keyframe initially, make it 0, the y-axis, and put the second keyframe and make it 600. So in this case, it will grow bigger than the previous three ones. So this is our animation. It looks cool. Try to build this on your own. We are going to learn more in the coming videos. Till then, keep learning and keep moving ahead. Hi, welcome back, friend. Here in this practical exercise, you're learning how you can create the line chart visualization with After Effects. So let's start. So just create a new solid for the background. Let me choose a lighter shade of green or blue green. You can take any color of your choice. Uh, I will be creating this monochromatic line chart. So I will be using green color, this same shade for all the objectives. Next, draw an axis using the pen tool. On the top side, you got pen tool and just create a linear axis over the x and y axis. Make the fill transparent because we don't want any fill, and change the color of a stroke and widen it because we want a thick stroke that is clearly visible, but it should not be very much thick. Take any darker shade of the same color. You got this color. Now it's time to add the main line chart. So our line chart will be growing from the 0 side of the x-axis. We will be drawing using the same pen tool. Take any other color shade. The choice of color is completely yours. You can also add some background image like masking we have done. Just draw it in the way you want your graph to appear. I don't use any calculated parameters here. You can add a line, a grid, or any value. That would be easy, just adding a text. That's not a problem. So just change the color to make it clearly visible. choose any color, and here we have drawn the points. It has an ups and downs, and at those points we will be adding a circular points. So here we have. So we want this graph to grow from the left side. So just select this graph, change the color. We will be adding a trim path. Trim path allows you to create an effect where your animation grows from the initial point to the final point. We have applied the trim path to the circular ring, and here we will be applying the same thing to the line chart. Just rename it to line path and just expand it and add trim path. In the trim path, go to the end option. Just use the proper timing. Keyframe this. Initially make it 0, then keyframe, say half a second, and over an interval of say 2 seconds, put another keyframe and make it 100%. So let's replay it. So it looks like a graph is growing. So this is an animation. It could be used for any business presentation or anywhere you like. So just add some points and add the meaning. You have to zoom in very much because we want to place the points at the time the graph is growing, because we don't want them to appear beforehand. So make the stroke transparent, and here we are interested in fill. So select a fill of the same color shade, or you can choose any different color. Uh, just select it and use the selection tool to move this point anywhere on the screen. So just place it on the proper location, make it a bit darker. So here it is. This is our point. It should not be very much big or very small. You have to select the proper timing, and after you have done resizing with it, you can just copy this thing and place it on other points. So we have to just put it at the proper timing and just press the open bracket from the keyboard. So at this point it will start. Otherwise you can also use the mouse to move it. So here this point will appear just after the line has reached that point. Then copy it and paste a replica and do the same thing, open bracket, because we want our second point to start at that keyframe when the line has reached at that point. You have to place all the points in the similar manner because our line is growing from the left side of the axis to the right side. All points must appear on a proper timing. This is the critical thing. If your line animation is too fast, it would be difficult. If your line animation is slow, you can arrange it. If you're finding it difficult, you can just do the one thing. You can apply trim path over the line for a long interval and then apply the points. This way you will be easily applying all the points, and after you have done with this, pre-compose it and increase the speed of entire composition accordingly. There are various more methods to do this. Don't be confused. Just practice. With experience, you will learn everything. So now just add more points to the curve. And when you have done with this, you can replay it to check your animation is working fine or not. So let's place more points in the right direction. Just Control C and Control V and the opening bracket, a square bracket from the keyboard. You can use a lot of shortcuts with the workflow, but don't try to remember all the shortcuts at the starting point. You would be confused. So let's replay it. So our line chart is looking very cool. The points will appear at the time the line has reached a particular coordinate. You can add mathematical values to the coordinates, but it's your choice. Because when you want to convey an idea, the accuracy is not critical on all the projects. It depends from project to project. If you're building on scientific project, accuracy could be the key thing. So in that case, you can be accurate. You have to do more work with Illustrator and no problem. You can add a background. Here I have added a square background of the lighter shade. Just place it to the lower side because it follows the similar pattern the After Effects follows. The layer that is placed on the top side will be visible from the top. So it looks cool. You can add your own selection. You can place images, mask, and more things. We are going to learn more in the coming exercises. Till then, keep learning and keep moving ahead. Hi, welcome back, friend. In the previous exercise, you learned how to create line chart animation, and here we are going to add some cool background. So just import the line chart After Effects file and an image file. Here I've created just a awkward earth-like content from Illustrator, and we will be making it earth. Just cross-check the effect and preset option is there or not. And then search sphere. We will be applying CC sphere effect to this earth. So CC sphere will make it look round, and you got a lot of cool options to control. Don't be afraid, just check it one by one. When we have the half a second timer and just expand everything, say radius, light, and everything. Just change the light because the light will be changing in the direction of sun. You can say Earth is not revolving here. The sun is rotating, you can say. And then you have the light intensity. You want to make it a bit dark or light. So the distance of Earth from sun. Similarly, you can rotate our very own Earth using the Y rotation. So just remember this thing. And you can add more things. You can check each and every effect there. You can change the color of light, but white light is good for us. Or you can change the light height, at which height the light is getting. The direction of light, because you want your sunrise to appear from top left or bottom or anywhere. You can select everything. You got a lot of flexibility and control here. So we will be animating, we will be rotating our earth, we will be rotating our sun, the passage of time, and we will be putting our line chart just above this earth to depict the global rise of temperature. This will be a children's global warming explanation. So just keyframe this Y rotation, and after some time just add some rotation and just play it. So here our sun is rotating and the earth is rotating. So the passage of day. You can sync them, add them together, but for the purpose of animation, I have added them over a interval. So just go to the line chart animation, import this After Effects file, and uncheck all these background layers, just the line chart we want, and place it over the earth. So this is how our animation would look like. But we want our animation to start after some time. You can place them at a desired place using the open square bracket. When this morning has been seen on earth, and then your graph will represent. Just give a proper time for your users to visualize the content. So here the sunrise has been done, taken place, and then our earth is rotating, and the global temperature rise can be seen from 1970 to 2020 over an interval of 10 years. Similarly, you can add more content. So when you have done with this animation, you can just export it using the media encoder. When you export using media encoder, you got a lot of control. You can choose the format, the encoding channel, and everything. So I want a MP4 format to be there. So I will be using H264 and rename the file and just play the press the play button and you got your exporting option to start. When you try to export using the render queue of the After Effects, it will convert to the default AVI format. And when you want MP4 or other formats, you can just play these things. When you have a good GPU on your computer, it will do the export operation very quickly. Otherwise, it will take a little time. Hi, welcome back friend. Here in this practical exercise, we're learning how to create puppet tools and create your character animation in After Effects. So let's start. Here we have a vector, simple vector. This is a director cut and we would be animating its upper end. So you can toggle the background, the transparency mode on and off, or you can place a solid here. It doesn't matter here. So on the top side you got the spin option. You can get, when you press it for a long time, you got 5 options. The position is starch, bend, advanced and overlap pin. We would be using the first 3 pins. So let's place a position pin on 2 ends of this object and then go to the bend pin. So when you use the bend pin, you can rotate it. The position pin keeps your object fixed. Just imagine it as a iron nail. So you hammered it, so it won't move. It acts like a pivot. And when you move the bend pin, it will bend with a little starch. So you can add a starch pin to have a simple motion. It will bend, but it acts like a bone. It will not bend as it is very elastic. It reduces the elasticity. Okay, so here we have added 3 starch pin of 2 on the either ends of the upper end and 1 on the lower end of the director's cut. So here we have used this starch and bend, a combination of these pins. You can add a more combination of these pins. So let's add a starch pin to all the corners of this shape, so that we don't want the lower end to move. We just want the upper end to move, and place the bend pin right in the center. So here when we rotate, it will move. So you note that position will keep your object at a still, but the starch pin will move, but it doesn't add elasticity. It makes it inelastic. So you go to the timeline and you can add keyframes to everything when you are done. So you have to experiment it. You can also scale it and reposition it based on the requirement. So now you can move this bend pin very smoothly and just add keyframes here. So initially let's make it just attached to the lower end, and after some time, say half a second later, you can just, or after some more time, half a second gap, keep it for pause, the still position, and say 1 second later, open the upper part, bend it slightly, and then after 1 more second, just bring it down to the original position. So when you replay it, try to preview, just go to starting and press the space bar. It will appear there. You have added pins, a combination of 3 pins to show a character animation. This is the fundamental of motion in 2D animation. You can animate anything, any vector you create with Illustrator or other tools. So you can reposition these keyframes based on your desired requirement. You can apply easing as well. You can select a pair of them, go to graph editor and just change the relative speed at a particular moment and preview it to make sure it looks cool. So when you want to animate a particular person or an animal, the character animation, this is the main building block of character animation. The way you have animated the upper section of this object, you can also animate a complicated tool. So here just create a new solid. If you want to have an amazing background, here I want to create a background. You can add a video to your background and just add the opacity to this object. So if you want to bring this director's cut on the screen initially, make it 0, and after some time, say half a second or less than a half a second, make it 100%. So it will quickly appear out of nowhere. You can place your video in the background, and then after some time, when its animation is done, you can then reverse the opacity, make it 0% after an interval of half second. You can place any object here and it will be cool animation. In the next video, we will be learning about 3D lightning. Keep learning, keep moving ahead. Hello, welcome back friend. Here in this practical exercise, we'll be learning about creating a 3D lightning in After Effects. So just right click in the timeline and here just create a new light, and you can choose a parallel light, a spotlight, point light, anything. I will be going with point light. You can change the color, intensity, smoothness, darkness, and anything. So just press OK. Here you have created a lightning source. You have to make every other layer in 3D. So just enable this 3D box icon, and these layers are in 3D. You know that you have to make 3D only the layers you want to work with. So you can change the color of light. I have changed to yellow. It doesn't look good. You can change the intensity. You can change the color. White is a perfect color. It makes all other colors visible. You can change the softness, the crispness, and you got various settings. You got darkness and diffusion and more options here. You can keyframe almost anything. The options you get, you can also change the position of your light from left, right, top, bottom, and in the Z direction. X, Y, Z, all coordinates are there for animation. So just go to start of the animation and keyframe a few things. So just keyframe intensity. Initially make it uh, less intense and keep the value of intensity low, and after some time, say 1 second or more, you add another keyframe and put the brightness to 170% or 150% around, and then after 1 second you can reduce the brightness, the intensity of light, to a little bit normal, so it comes into highlight, gets into focus, and dims out. So this is a simple animation. You can add more lightning option. You can add the spotlight, the disco light, anything like that. If you have a video recorded and you want to add disco features, you can use the spotlight and various lighting options. You have to just play with various options. You will learn a lot. So here add one more keyframe and make it completely dark. Just go to this diamond option and you can change the value. You can just hover around, or you can provide the exact value in numbers by just double clicking that thing. Here this animation looks good. Just press spacebar to preview your animation again and again. So here just reposition this light over time. Initially just keep it towards left, and we will moving in the rightward direction. So we have animated the intensity and we can animate the position as well. So say after a second, you can reposition it to the light rightward and right direction. Um, 1 second gap is there for the transition. If you want a faster transition, you have to place the keyframes just close by. If you want a slow transition, you have to increase the gap between the keyframes. This is simple. It is not rigid. After Effects is very dynamic, so you can change almost anything you have done on the go. So once you have declared a keyframe, you don't need to delete everything. If you want to have a different value, you have to reposition it. That's all. So here you can check other effects here, but as they are not in 3D, so it won't be visible right now. You can play with them. So here it is. Try building your own solution, keep learning and keep moving ahead.